Hello and welcome to this brisk webinar from Infor and Ultra Consultants. It's going to be chock full of insights about modernization through the cloud as we discuss moving enterprise into the future. I'm your host, Brian Denton, and whether you're watching this webinar with us in real time or on demand somewhere in the unknowable future, we're glad you're joining us. We've intentionally set up our webinars to optimize your time and the expertise of our speakers. So for those in our live presentation, feel free to ask questions right there in the chat and we will answer them along the way. For those watching on demand, we'll point you to additional resources at the end. So let's get after it. We're really excited about today's slate of speakers. We've got Kelly Cruzeiro. She's an industry strategy advisor with Infor. She's worked for over 30 years assisting companies in the logistics and distribution space with enterprise software to guide their digital transformations. The last 18 of those years are with Infor. And then Stephen Levy is the VP of Enterprise Architecture for Infor. He brings a great level of experience and expertise to this discussion as both a nerd on the software side and a customer-focused consultant. It's great to have both in one person. And then we're equally grateful to hear from Ultra Consultants Service Delivery Manager, Dave Saunders, who brings 25 years of business experience helping mid-sized and large manufacturing and distribution companies improve their operations and underlying business processes. So a slate of great speakers with a lot of experience who have assisted with many companies just like yours to move to the cloud, to be able to take advantage of the latest and greatest enterprise software modernization upgrades. So Dave, let's start with you. Let's set the stage for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, very much for the introduction, and I'm glad everybody can be here with us. So, if we think about why people do move to the cloud, Gartner really stated, I think it was about 65% of new ERP implementations are going to the cloud. They're pretty well documented. We a lot of our clients, almost all of our clients, at some point we get into the discussion about why should they go to the cloud. But there is some hesitancy out there. But what I really want to do is open the door to Kelly to be able to share some of her thoughts on why one of their key offerings is cloud-based and the benefits of that.
Sure. Well, I think for most of the clients that I work with, what is driving them to the cloud is to enable them to be more agile and innovative. They're facing some pretty big pressure in the market, and they need to be able to bring forth innovative value-added services. They want to do automation to improve productivity, and they want to harness the power of data. And that can be difficult on legacy on-prem solutions. So the clients that we're talking to, they're really looking to, transform their business, if you will. And you'll see here that, I'll be speaking to the unlimited computing power of the cloud. And that's a big word. But what that really means is that your business can scale in the cloud, right? No longer are you limited by the servers that are sitting in the back office, but that you can truly scale your business, add additional users, move to new countries, open up into new markets easily because you're already enabled in the cloud. And that additional computing power is also what will allow you to take that data and really harness it to make better decisions in your business. Steve,
Great.
Do you have thoughts as well?
Yeah, some great points there, Kelly. The inner nerd part of me really loves sort of the evergreen capabilities of the cloud, because Infor is providing updates at regular basis. Not only do you get all the industry capabilities that you need to run your business better today, but you rest assured that you have the confidence to know that you'll have all the technology capabilities you need in the future. We frequently say to our customers, it's the last upgrade they'll do, right? You move to the cloud and that's it. Every month you just stay current and there's no more upgrades or migrations to do. And that's a tremendous nerdy asset to me, because we all love new toys in the nerd world, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so one of the things though that we find in talking to our clients, especially the smaller ones, the ones that have been on an ERP, may still be green screen. It's probably on a server sitting in a closet in their back office someplace. is the concern with, the security aspect of it. You see a lot of stories in the news about how, that the servers are being attacked and everything. How do you respond to those types of concerns?
Yeah, so just to start really easy, security in the cloud is way better than security on premise. It's a lot more secure, specifically in a multi-tenant cloud. I liken it to almost like Google. It is really possible and growing more and more prevalent that one of your employees could click on a nefarious link and jeopardize your internal business operations. There's no way, shape, or form that action can jeopardize Google's ability to answer your web queries. The same holds true with your cloud-based ERPs. As you move to Cloud Suite Distribution or Distribution Enterprise, none of those activities performed by an employee, no phishing attempts, no malware attempts, have the ability to affect your ERP. So none of these should provide real business disruption. In addition to the reality that the cloud is just better for a security design than on-premise, we really get some advantages of using your different providers in the cloud. So as we see here on the slide, the way that Infor has a design pattern we approach our cloud deployments in the multi-tenant cloud is we have the AWS engineers focused on the security of the cloud, the hardware itself, the actual data centers. This makes sense because they are AWS and they own the data centers. They have a unique expertise to secure that data room. Now, Infor is a software provider. We make sure that there's security in the cloud, that our applications only allow the authorized user in, and we restrict the information and the way that the distributor specifies, which brings us to the responsibility to the cloud of securing the path to the cloud, which falls on the distributor. Really, the way this model works out is the only thing the distributor has to worry about is the data they store on their C drive and who's supposed to have access to what applications. We find that this leans into their core competencies. They don't have to be engineers. The distributors don't have to be software architects. They just have to be able to say, I want to allow Dave Saunders into my order entry app because he's selling the heck out of my product.
Yeah, great comment, Steve. And like any application that we deal with, it's that realization, understanding, and respect, if you will, that vulnerabilities exist. And there are ways to mitigate that security. Those of us at Ultra, we find that the security risks associated, as you've said, on AWS, their level of focus on security far outweigh the benefits of any, staying on your server in the back room. And it's also interesting, I'll share real quickly, it's often interesting that when we get into the discussion, it's usually the senior executives who are voicing those concerns. And the IT person kind of mumbles, yeah, well, do you know how much time today I spent, fending off phishing attacks? And, that just takes you on a whole nother different level of discussion. But it is a realization that there are risks regardless of where you go. But certainly, we would certainly concur going to the cloud is the safest route. Kelly, what kind of thoughts do you have on, you mentioned cloud computing a moment ago. So from that aspect, what would you like to share the benefits, how that plays into that decision?
Sure. So cloud computing really touches to the area of lowering your cost, right? Again, because you're no longer investing in additional hardware, and you also know what your regular monthly fees will be when you move your ERP to the cloud, right? It's a SaaS solution. So it's a known entity as to what your costs are. But in addition, you're getting, you're reducing your IT investment. You don't have to have as large an IT staff if you're not worrying about security, right? You're giving all of that to your ERP provider to manage that aspect of your business. And, we do have small clients who have one-man IT shops. And for them, they wanted to get out of the IT business, right? They don't want to be a software company. They want to rely on their software company or their technology provider to help them. So there are tremendous benefits to moving your ERP to cloud in terms of lowering your costs. Also, the benefit of being up to date. So an ERP in the cloud, in a multi-tenant cloud specifically, can be updated on a regular basis with new capabilities. So in our case, it's every 30 days. We put out new features, and imagine for a business who's literally been on an ERP, probably, they're 5 years behind on a latest release, if that, and it takes them 2 years to do an upgrade. And as soon as they upgrade, they're behind again. When moving to the cloud, you're no longer dealing with that. You are current all the time. When people say, well, what version are you on? You just say, I'm current. That's it. I've got every feature that's enabled to my software. I choose which features I want to take advantage of, but it's all there for my taking as I need it. So that is a huge benefit and savings for our customers, as they're no longer managing these big upgrades, and they're able to take on new technologies and capabilities to improve their business very quickly and easily. The flexibility, is another area, and I talked a little bit about that, the ability to expand into new markets and add new users, swap out products. Doing this in the cloud is much easier and more effective. And mergers and acquisitions is another area there that I think is of interest to many distributors. We see a lot of that type of activity in the market, much easier to bring to onboard a new acquisition and make sure that you're getting a return on that investment sooner than later. And then lastly, connected. Being in the cloud, the technologies available there enable you to connect to your customers, your partners, but also allowing your employees to work from anywhere, right? You want to give them that flexibility. As we know, COVID kind of changed the world. And yes, a lot of people are going back to the office, but I don't think we're ever going to go back to the way it was fully before, right? Especially the new generation, they want that flexibility. And in the cloud, you absolutely can provide a very secured connection so that your employees can work from anywhere at any time.
Yeah, so for, one of the things is we're finding that it's also faster to implement. Steve, what can you share with why that is? What's the, why a cloud-based version is so much faster to implement?
This is on the non-nerdy side, the customer-facing consultant side of my personality. So I've found, in my experience anyway, the cloud-based ERP solutions, they really do have a shorter implementation time. It's about 2 months shorter than an on-premise counterpart. The difficult part of that statistic is finding a like-for-like update, but as a general rule, if it was going to take you 12 months to go live on an on-premise implementation, it's going to take you about 10 to do it in the cloud. The reason that we can decrease the time to value and start having distributors realize the value of their new cloud-based ERP quickly is due to 3 main components. Tooling, we have diagnostic tools to understand the current situation so we can actually do our validation in real time as we move the data over, right? We used to have to do these balancing reports. We don't have to. We know the exact balance we shipped over, and we have tooling to audit along the way. That speeds it up a lot. Our total transition time, because the way that we've actually gone to market with industry process catalogs, and we actually work through the standard processes that a distributor does. Everybody takes a quote, they take an order, they eventually ship it with or without shipping notices, and then eventually they go through an invoicing motion to actually bill the customer for the goods. We establish that baseline out of the gate rather than starting with a blank piece of paper, and we find that that really helps drive the implementation teams well, as you know, Dave, running the teams. And lastly is training. A robust self-paced training and education packages really help us get the companies up to speed and competent at their jobs much faster than we could have ever done it in the on-premise world. So all of this working in harmony really also helps fold-ins happen much faster. I know Kelly mentioned mergers and acquisitions earlier. When you do acquire a company, you want to spin them up, you want to get them competent, and you want to get them into the cloud and fold it into your organization as quickly as possible to decrease the hemorrhaging cost of paying for that on-premise ERP in addition to the cloud that's powering your enterprise. And again, those education opportunities really make it easy to bring on new employees as well. We have a distributor who's really big in the plumbing sector. It used to take them 5 weeks to get an employee from a rookie to being able to stand on their counter and help a customer. They now have decreased that to 5 business days, thanks to the self-paced training and the ease of the user interface and experience in the cloud.
I'm going to use that as a segue into kind of the next point, and it's around Industry 4.0, topic that's been around for a while. Early on, it was a lot of conceptual discussion, but I think we're now seeing a lot of it really coming into realization. So how does the cloud enable innovation and leveraging all those things that kind of fall under Industry 4.0?
Sure. So again, this area for me is probably one of the most exciting areas. And sometimes when I talk to clients, they get that they need to work towards artificial intelligence, but to them, it's somewhat like out there. And I think one of the points I'd like to get across today is that this is much more attainable for any business. If, when they're ready and when they get to the cloud. Again, because they're going to be having the ability to store all kinds of data, and we want them to do that. Because once you have that data, then you can unleash it, right? And now you can enable your entire company to take advantage of that. But it really does start with the employee and looking at how to improve their productivity and to improve their experience. Honestly, nobody wants to work for a company that's archaic. And when we think about that, we often think about the user experience and what it looks like. But it goes so much deeper in that. It's really about providing them work that they enjoy, that's meaningful, and adds value to the business, and getting rid of those tasks that are mundane and boring, right? So modern 4.0 technologies can automate a lot of business processes today, taking those repeatable business processes and automating them using artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I think that's something out of the gate that people should be thinking about, that their business can benefit, their employees can have a better experience at work and be more valuable. IoT is another area that is considered a 4.0 technology that we're seeing distributors take advantage of, right? There are more and more sensors in the world. I mean, there's billions, trillions of them, right? Everything has a sensor on it today. Even our clothes have sensors on it. So more and more data is being collected. And now the question is, how can distributors use that data to improve their business? And there are many, many ways that distributors are doing this. They're providing not just preventative maintenance, but now predictive maintenance, where they can sense when a piece of equipment that they've sold to a customer needs to be reviewed, right? We're using it to determine usage-based pricing, right? Allowing businesses to come up with a new model of pricing that helps their customers, right? So again, using sensors, they can monitor usage and therefore charge based on that usage. So there's a lot that's going on. Another area that we see in many, many industrial distributors is monitoring their customers' inventory and using sensors, be able to determine when that inventory needs to be replenished. No more are sales reps going out on the road and counting inventory. This is all being done through automation. AI and machine learning is probably the one we hear the most about, right? And the different use cases that are available. The question is, like, is anybody really using it in the real world? And the answer is yes. I mean, we have customers who are improving their ability to service their customers at the counter, for example. They're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to recommend products for their customers. So when their customer comes in and has a part and says, hey, listen, this is I need to fix this thing. What do I need to fix it? Artificial intelligence is now telling the young person at the counter who doesn't have a lot of experience, hey, when you fix this part, not only do you need the part you think you need, but you're also going to need these other 3 parts, right? And now we can make sure when you leave, you have what you need. That's being done through artificial intelligence. AI is also being used to optimize pricing, optimize inventory to make sure you have the right products. I mean, this is extremely powerful capabilities that can be enabled when you get to the cloud and have that ability to have this massive amount of data layered in with this advanced technology. And I think, again, one of the points is it's not just about getting to the cloud, but it's having an ERP that enables these technologies as part of the normal business experience, right? It shouldn't feel like it's this different thing off to the side. It has to be embedded in the processes of taking an order or in the process of doing your buying. So it's a really exciting area.
Well said, Kelly. I think the ERP or the cloud-based solutions are the enablers for innovation, right? And you mentioned AI. Not only are we seeing this with our global enterprises, which of course we are, right? They're benefiting at scale from these technologies. We're also seeing AI plays it. I mean, you mentioned a one-person distributor. We both know a guy that's a one-person distributor. He's a one-person IT shop. He's built his own AI. He's built his own automations. He's now looking at material handling automations. I think by the end of 2023, he'll have a few robots running around his warehouse too. So we're seeing AI deployed and creating value all over the market. Dave, what about you? What are you guys seeing out on the street?
Yeah, so now that you and Kelly have managed to take all of my use cases I was going to reference. Now, and let me start with the AI machine learning, especially with distributors really having to leverage e-commerce and that being their interface point with their customers, where AI and machine learning really comes in multiple places, right? It can come in to play, and we've seen, leverage. Hey, you're going to buy this. You should also consider buying these other similar or complementary products, where this one's out of stock. This would be based on your buying pattern. This may be a better, an equal choice for you. You can use pricing to say, do I offer that substitution? Do I need to offer that at a similar price point, or can I maybe up it? So there's a lot of that with pricing. This is powerful stuff out there, and we still probably haven't seen necessarily all the benefits that we can possibly have with a fully, implemented AI machine learning, have it pervasive in supply chain management and all those other areas that really will make a difference for our distributors to be even more successful than they are today. We talked about, businesses, their challenges are evolving constantly. Either they've made an acquisition, you get COVID, and all of a sudden you're really not on the internet, with an e-com strategy. And all of a sudden, I can't have people come into my shop, so I need to be able to interact with them, and I need to kind of expand quickly. Companies, though, once they've made an ERP investment, what they really don't want to do is have to continually customize their software, which was kind of the old school, or buy add-on point solutions that I now have to integrate with what's there to address those requirements. How do software providers such as yourselves, how do you address those requirements? And you've talked about, monthly making releases, but how do you keep them abreast of those changes, and how do you keep up with that?
Well, the shortest answer is with billions of dollars of research and development money. We just throw a ton of developers at a ton of problems every year. Lots of research, development, and what we call virtuous experimentation. But Infor is at its core an industry-specific cloud company. We understand and we know that our customers entrust us to provide mission-critical enterprise applications to deliver sustainable operational advantage to all of our customers around the globe. We value that trust highly. It is our most valuable asset besides our people. So everything we do is focused on making sure that we're delivering on that commitment to our customers. So our solutions are always complete. Means we provide deep vertical capabilities to drive customer value and adoption. Right out of the box for a distributor, our systems with no tweaking and no configuration will increase your turns, they will maximize your capital, and they will help you become a better distributor by auditing all of your rebates, by driving strategical purchases instead of tactical purchases. Right out of the gate, plain vanilla. You don't need to use all of these benefits of the cloud to get a benefit there. We extend that based on our customers' recommendations every single month, and that deeper extensibility provides more project agility, and it meets each distributor's unique requirements. To maximize the value of these industry solutions that we're creating in real time, distributors need to be honest about the value that their existing processes create. Primarily, I mean, you need to separate your existing process from some workaround that you've just been doing for 20 years. Modernizing a poor process will not lead to increased shareholder value. So I know that Dave, you and your team really focus on this. How does Ultra ensure for distributors that they don't fall into this trap?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So, part of our methodology is we start the transition. We look at this as a business transformation engagement, and it starts with business process improvement. We're going in and learning about, current pain points and what's working well, what's not working well, what do they want to improve upon, what do we see that they should be working on improving upon, and then updating those processes and identifying what does best practice, maybe with a flavor of what's their secret sauce, what does that process look like, and how do we leverage technology to even optimize those processes. Your point, I was laughing a little bit, your point about, it's the old adage, I can optimize a bad process, but it's still a bad process, right? So we always talk about, look, if it's a bad process, we need to fix that, at the heart of it. And we focus on process, people, and technology. And technology is always the last piece that we look at. So we need to make sure those processes are good. We want to make sure that the people are equipped, and, sometimes we talk about are the right people on the right seats on the bus. And then leveraging technology on top of it. How do we really make it so that, when they get to implementation, they know the roadmap that they're going on, and frankly, how do they get there as quickly as they possibly can, so that maximizing, and shortening the ROI, time to ROI is really, really critical for us. So, kind of for Infor, what do you guys look at relative to critical aspects of a successful modernization program?
Well, it's really almost exactly the same as the way you do it. You guys start with the people and the processes and then move into the technology. We create those same results. Our steps are a little different, but essentially it's the same. We use the Koch PBM philosophy, their framework, to make these types of migrations. So the first thing we do is we make sure we're aligned on vision, right? The goals are very clear to the entire team. Are we looking to increase revenue or increase efficiency in this conversation? And then, much like you said, we align the people. Do we have the right people with the right skills to accomplish this goal? If not, let's get them in place. And then lastly, we come in with the tooling required to get it done. And that's where that virtuous experimentation I mentioned earlier comes in. I think that one real essential area of a transformation that we haven't really spoken about today is how to select the right solution. Obviously, we want everyone to select Infor because it is the right solution for every distributor. However, some distributors don't have the time to make this decision for themselves. And it really is a very important decision. The business process owners and the C-suite have to unite in this vision, and they have to make sure that we're all, as I said earlier, aligned on vision. And the first vision is, what is the right cloud industry facing solution for my enterprise? And I know that you guys, you specifically, Dave, are really gifted in helping distributors to reach this decision and help them find the right solution for them.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So, and I just want to clarify, Ultra doesn't make the decision for them. We'll guide them to the right selection of vendors. We'll help make sure they're asking the right questions. But, as they say at the end of the day, it's their future, it's their future state, and it's their decision as to which solution they're going to choose. And it's, based on a variety of criteria that we're looking at. Functionality, obviously, is one of the key ones. Total cost of ownership is another, with a few other criteria that we really do look at in making that selection. But it's important, and it's important that they do look at the right ones. And we pride ourselves on not being strategically aligned, if you will, with any of the ERP vendors. We have great relationships with many, such as Infor, and our clients benefit from that relationship. But we don't benefit. Which one? We always tell them we just want you to choose the right solution. And based on our experience, we kind of get a sense sometimes, and what we think maybe they're asking the right questions or not asking the right questions, and we'll help them. But we really, really force them to make that decision. And sometimes it's tough discussions within the team, but it's all good, change management, if you will.
Awesome. Well, on behalf of distributors everywhere, whatever you guys are doing is working really well. You're a great partner for implementation. You guys are fantastic at helping distributors pick the right solution. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Kelly.
Guys, this has been an incredibly enlightening discussion. I hope our viewers are also enjoying just how broadly and how specifically in both aspects we're looking at the landscape, and we're looking at the importance of modernization through cloud computing and being able to move your server into a place where there's better security, there's better upgrades, and there's just that cutting edge technology that simplifies so much of a company's operations, transparency. So I want to thank Kelly and Steve from Infor, and bringing your expertise, bringing your transparency about how your platform works and how it's helping to transform businesses. Dave, thanks for bringing your perspective from Ultra as well. Folks, please reach out to our team to schedule an introductory conversation with Ultra Consultants about issues your business may be facing, to see if our methodology, experience, and expertise might be the right fit for you. And reach out to the Infor team to schedule a demo, speak to their team about the robust software offerings they provide to companies like yours. You can also find a plethora of resources on either of our websites to accelerate your understanding in areas as diverse as streamlining supply chains, digital transformation, ERP implementations, and more. Thanks again, you folks, for joining us, and thanks again to Steve, Kelly, and Dave for bringing your expertise. We're looking forward to continuing this conversation further.